first until the last minute. This was just not enough in all important areas. We were second best. And let me to start with just we can only apologize to our supporters. It was a terrible performance and a humiliating defeat.
He's absolutely right there, Ralf Rangnick, as he says there. A humiliating, humbling, embarrassing defeat for Manchester United. Rangnick, brutal as ever when it comes to his assessment of Manchester United. And what's been really, really interesting in the past 24 to 48 hours is this kind of notion that Ralph's to blame. And I kind of get it. I do. And I'm trying not to sound condescending and I'm trying not to sound rude to anybody. But there is this, he's blaming the Glazers. He's blaming the transfer policy. He's blaming hard work. He's blaming a lack of desire to cover up for his own inefficiencies as a coach. And the saddest part for me is people are believing this. People are buying into this. They're sucking on the Glazer teat again. They're playing into the hands of the owners like you would not believe. Bruno Fernandes says yesterday, what we did today, and I include myself in it, was not good enough to wear the Manchester United shirt, and I accept it. And Bruno Fernandes is a player who shouldn't be in the starting lineup of Manchester United right now. He should be removed. He should be dropped. Give an academy player a chance. Give anybody a chance that isn't getting game time. The problem that you find yourself in is that it may be not the right environment for young kids. You've got someone like Jesse Lingard that some people want to see get a game. But this guy's family are out on the internet every 5 minutes, digging into the club, digging into the way things are being done, insubordination, terrible behaviors. The club let Donny van de Beek go out on loan. Whether or not it would have been good enough for us, I don't know. He hasn't really done anything at Everton, but they're in a mess. But we've left ourselves in this position where it's hard to even drop certain players now. You know, Elanga, I don't think he's ready for first-team football at Man United on a regular basis, but he's having to play week in, week out because there's no Martial. Of course, there's no Greenwood. Rashford's absolutely finished as it stands right now. And I honestly can't see him turning this around. He just looks devoid of any idea, any confidence, anything at all. But I'm kind of seeing this kind of approach from people. And, you know, Ralph the other day, I'm going to play what he said the other day as well. But he kind of came out with this quote as well, that there was a few players, Diaz in January, Alvarez, there was Vlahovic, players that he recommended to the Manchester United board. And a Sports Bible quote here, Rangnick is at it again, throwing everybody under the bus in another brutally honest press conference. And it's kind of actually led to a few people being angry with him, which I don't quite understand. But we'll what we'll do, to be fair to him, we'll play this in context with tone as well. We'll play it with tone.
Oh, there is no player on the market that would really help us.
Could you not see one on the market that could help?
Well, there were a few. There were a few. Diaz, who is now in Liverpool. Alvarez, who will be at Manchester City in the summer. Vlahovic, who at the time still was with Fiorentina. So those are just three of them that come across my mind now.
Was it a question of finances then? Was it a question of money?
I don't know. The answer was no, and that was it.
Just to clarify.
See, and that's the thing that's really important to look at. The answer was no. He asked for these players, Vlahovic, you know, and what was really funny, Diaz told no. Now, what we've been told is that that's going to eat into the budget of the summer. But this is the thing with Man United. There's no coherent plan. It shouldn't matter per se who the manager is in the summer. There should be a club plan, a club process, a club philosophy, and a style of player that suits it. We should be picking a manager that suits that same very style and philosophy, where there's an 80 to 90% match in terms of everybody's ideals. It's a really simple process. It's how nearly every other single successful business in the world works. You might bring somebody in with some new ideas, but they at least match the overarching view of your organization. But this has led to some people stating things like this. Here's Zach, who says, sorry, Wreck-It Ralph, not buying a striker doesn't really explain how you totally lack your total lack of tactics and your atrocious defense. I think we all know why no big club in Germany has ever taken a chance on you, mate. And what's really intriguing about this is Ralph was never meant to be the answer managerially. The goalposts are being moved in a dramatic way. Yes, I thought that Ralph would do a better job as a manager, but no one worth their salts was talking about him as a superstar coach. United fans were happy about the idea of him going upstairs. And that's what people like Zach in this post are missing. And lots of Man United fans are following suit. The club haven't listened to his recommendations. The reason Man United are playing badly isn't because he can't coach or manage or pick a team. The reason this team are playing badly is the players are not trying. They are not trying because the manager is throwing them under the bus. Because Ralph is outing them. He is certainly annoying the Glazers by talking about these things in public. He has certainly embarrassed people like Ed Woodward and Matt Judge. And he continually exposes these players. Martial not wanting to play. Big conversations with Jesse Lingard. Dropping Marcus Rashford has left Marcus Rashford embarrassed. And I know it's kind of being played down now by new links of he doesn't really want to leave. But he's thinking about it. He only wants to have positive conversations with Erik Ten Hag if Ten Hag guarantees in game time. These players are babies. And when I see journalists, football fans, Man United fans say, no, all this nonsense of Ralph outing the club and talking about these bad practices and processes, it's just to mask how bad a manager he is. This is exactly why Man United are in the position we're in from an outside point of view. When when LVG failed and struggled, when Jose struggled and failed, when Ollie inevitably failed, all we did is focus on the managerial ability and the coaching element. You're a bad coach, bad manager, you bought bad players, therefore you are bad. What, 4 permanent managers running? 5 managers now if you include Ralph. Each and every single time it's the manager's fault. We cannot keep ignoring the structural deficiencies, the player power problems, and the overarching bad running of this football club. The reason these players are like this right now, the reason we're looking so bad is because they are not trying on a consistent basis. When they do have a 10-minute, 20-minute spell in a game where they turn up, things look pretty damn good. And I implore Man United fans to not get sucked into this. When Eric comes in, these players will up their game and start working hard. And what it will do, and mark my words now, they're planting the seed, these players. People will say, oh my God, it was just Ralph. We don't need an overhaul. We're okay. Glazers will listen. They'll spend less. They'll throw the new manager under the bus and we'll be back here in 18 months. Very reminiscent of the seed I told you that Lukaku planted many months ago when he did that infamous interview. He said, Lukaku said he was frustrated, and so are other attacking players, with the system. The system was the reason that he was failing. This has led to a number of Chelsea fans now starting to blame Tuchel for the poor results, saying, maybe Lukaku had a point. This is what happened when people, they lay these seeds early on to get you thinking about this sort of stuff later on down the line. It's pretty obvious. We've seen it all before. There's nothing new going on here. I say get behind Ralph. I say let's put the pressure upon the Glazers and let's try and eradicate this player power. Jurgen Klopp up now, not happy after Liverpool's. It wasn't a defeat, but it felt like a defeat to many, many Scousers. Let's take a look at what Jurgen Klopp had to say here.
The praise probably for Tottenham. If you play a world-class team, they sit back. They won against, they drew against us now. They won against City, I think, and against Chelsea as well. They win against Chelsea. So the game plan works for these games, but they're still 5th. So that's how it is.
The game plan works for these games, but they're still 5th. Do you know Jurgen Klopp? He's a legend of football. I think, where he scales in that legendary category, I don't know yet. But he's a legendary figure. When he loses, though, I have to say, he is one of the worst losers in the world, especially when a team plays what he considers to be anti-football. when a team sits back, they're hard to break down and they catch you on the counter. It triggers Jurgen like you wouldn't believe. One of the things I like about Thomas Tuchel, if his team don't win, he'll say we weren't good enough in X, Y, and Z position. Klopp doesn't do that. Klopp is always looking for the excuse on the other individuals. And if I'm being honest, I don't hate him for it. Sir Alex Ferguson was invariably like this as well. It was the ref, it was the opponents, it was the this, that, or the other. I don't think Fergie ever blamed floodlights or long grass or wet grass or the things like this. But Jurgen Klopp, the salt. The salt. I want to play that back again. I want to hear what he said again. Now you just see it. You just see it in his eyes here and his face. Look at the expression.
As well, we win against Chelsea. So the gameplay works for these games, but they're still fifth. So that's how it is. We have to. It's really a tough one. So
the thing is, though, Jurgen, it's not a tough one. In reality, it isn't, because if they opened up and played against you to try to get themselves into fourth today, you'd have beaten them 4 or 5-0 and you'd be buzzing. And this is what Jurgen Klopp would do. If Spurs opened up and were expansive and he beat them 5-0, he'd praise them more. Because, of course, they're giving him a meal ticket. I think teams that open up against Liverpool are stupid. I legitimately think teams that open up against them are stupid, because the punch power they have and punch resistance they have is too hard for you to break down. So you need to be ready. You need to be Floyd Mayweather against them. You need to be defensive. You need to be boring. You need to lure them out to try and catch them when they're tired and exposed. And Tottenham almost did it yesterday. And if Højbjerg could header straight or header on target, it could have been a win. This was a bonus point for Tottenham, no doubt about it, against the best team in the world. But I understand why Jurgen Klopp is slamming Spurs, because he, like a lot of fans, I know I watched his press conference where he spoke about this isn't a funeral. There's worse things that can happen in the world than losing this game. Yes, in the context of life. In the world of football, yesterday was an absolute disaster for Liverpool. An absolute disaster. If Man City win their game against Newcastle, there's a 3-point gap. If they win well and get a better goal difference, it's essentially a 4-point gap. That means not only do they need City to lose a game more than them in the final 3 games, they've also got to score more goals and concede less goals than City in those games as well. And listen, 3 trophies in the season is still very much available. FA Cup final, Champions League. Imagine winning a Champions League, League Cup and FA Cup in 1 year. Absolutely impeccable. But the league title is the hardest of all the trophies to win. You've got to be the most consistent, and it will pain Liverpool fans. And they know it's going to pain them, and it should pain them. But they come again next year. But it did make me laugh, that press conference. I want your thoughts on that as well. Is Jurgen Klopp right to be angry about that type of play from a team, especially at this level at the game? I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. Make sure you're smashing the like buttons. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace, my people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again.